just keep going. Like, what does it matter that so-and-so said whatever? What does it matter that, someone wrote this article? Like, you just have to keep going. Because in 2 weeks, someone could be a new US Open champion, right? For the first time. No one knows what's going to happen. It could be you. Why not you?
Welcome to another episode of The Winning Formula presented by Nasdaq. I am your host, Joel Kalani. I am here today with a very special episode joined by Sloane Stephens, winner of 8 singles titles, winner of the 2017 US Open, founder of the Sloane Stephens Foundation, 2018 ESPYs Female Tennis Player of the Year winner, and host of the Sincerely Sloane podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. How are you doing today? You doing good?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So how early into your career did you start thinking about ventures beyond tennis, right? Tapping into your personal brand, growing that personal brand, and thinking about, where can I take this beyond tennis eventually when that time comes?
Yeah, I've always had an interest outside of tennis just to do other things. And obviously tennis has made my life so incredible. And I'm so blessed just experimenting with life as I go, but just also being able to set myself up for the future and whatever it is that may be. I went back to school and I got my degree. I got my master's degree online. I do want to make sure that I have the option to do whatever it is that I want to do in my post-career, which has been incredible for me. And I think being able to, invest in things and kind of see what I like to do and figure out that process, it's obviously been a learning curve, obviously for someone who only knows tennis their whole life. Now that I am getting older, being able to see what's possible. I did a little bit of commentating. I now have the Sincerely Sloane podcast. I've invested in a number of different, startups and brands and companies, and to figure out what I really want to do, I've had to experiment.
Nice. And you've said in multiple interviews in the past that part of what has allowed you to be successful in tennis is that you never lost the fun. Do you take that same mentality into your ventures with the more flexibility that you have and seeing where I fit, seeing the things that I like to do, what I want to grow? Is that part of the genesis of how you start to think about your ventures?
I'm the type of person who needs to have a passion and love for whatever it is that I'm doing, to do it 100% and max it out and, find every which way to make it successful or whatever it may be. So I think my love for tennis really kind of set the tone for every single thing that I do in my life. And it's something that I've always carried with me. But tennis was obviously my first love and made me realize how much passion and dedication you do need for something. And I've carried that into everything else that I do.
When it comes to your love for tennis, very early on in your career, you set up this Sloane Stephens Foundation, which is, the mission is to expand the game out and provide access to folks who may have not had access prior. The game has changed significantly since that time, 2013, when you founded it to now. Would you say that the access from when you began, when you were coming up the ranks from Florida, California, et cetera, to where you are now, the game has expanded? Have you seen that equity, more inclusion in the game and more access for young people across the country?
The game has changed significantly. And from when we started the foundation in 2013, we're 11 years in now, just being able to put rackets in the hands of kids who normally would not pick tennis, for me, is extremely important. I grew up playing across the street from a club and in an NJTL, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it, right? And my mom just always encouraged me to do whatever it was that I wanted to do. And I found tennis and I loved it. But I want to give that opportunity back to kids who also can experience what I've experienced in my life. I've obviously been able to travel the world, meet incredible people. I've been able to do so many incredible things. And that's been my passion for the last 11 years. And I love it. And I think that expanding the game through grassroots tennis is incredibly important. Anyone who plays tennis or knows tennis knows that there are incredible opportunities in the sport. And to give that back is really important to me.
And I love that, for the past 11 years, you've championed that.
Yeah.
And so beyond the Sloane Stephens Foundation, Doc and Glow.
Yes.
If you could so bless us with kind of the genesis of Doc and Glow, your thought process behind it, what the process has been in bringing it to life and just what it is, the mission, everything.
It is my body care line. I have worked on this project for 4 years. It was my COVID baby. I really felt strongly that during COVID, when we couldn't use the showers or the locker rooms, and everyone was like, all smelly and funky and nasty.
People still were going to play.
Yeah, they still were going to be in your face talking. Yeah. I'm like, okay, no, we have to find a solution. So for me, it was really about finding solutions for myself, but also for other people who are active and doing day-to-day things that they normally would do, but having a product that moves with you. That was really important for me, just because I know my struggles as an athlete and like my personally not wanting to smell and not wanting to be like self-conscious around like doing interviews and doing stuff like that. So the name Dock and Glow is my grandparents.
Okay.
And I'm a complete granddaughter, like through and through. I love spending time with my grandparents. Like they meant the world to me. I wanted to create something that I really had a connection with, right? And my grandpa was an OBGYN and he delivered over 50,000 babies. And my grandma was this incredible woman who always championed like self-care. I wanted to bring that together in a brand and a company and present it to the world in terms of things that you would use, right? That you would look at and be like, oh, this is so cool. There's like a story behind everything that I do. And I want to make sure that whatever it is that I am doing, like there's thought behind it, there's reason, there's purpose. And I think for myself, being an athlete, just the dedication and the drive to like make something perfect and to just continue to go at it has been really helpful for me in my tennis life and obviously creating Dock and Glow.
You know, here at Nasdaq, we champion staying resilient in all kinds of factors. How were you able to consistently kind of tune out and not let any of the noise, numbers, and rankings affect your game and allow you to continue to be successful?
Yeah, I've always said that I've lived my life and my career on my own terms and I've done what I've wanted to do, how I've wanted to do it. And I'm proud of how I've done it. I've reached the pinnacle of my sport, winning the US Open as an American. There's so many ups and downs in sports in general, and it's how you manage the downs. It's also how you manage the ups too, right? It's like when you get there, then what happens?
I'm buying
right?
a jet.
Yeah, like I'm like, what are we doing? We're getting a Rolls Royce. Like what's happening, right? So it's like I think you have to manage both ends of the spectrum really well, right? And then when you're in the middle and things are just like okay, it's like how can I get better? There's always so many battles that no one ever sees and no one ever talks about. Social media has really created like a different verse in terms of how fans and people interact with you. And I think that, again, that's part of like tuning out the noise and really being able to like focus on yourself and like figure those things out. My husband was telling me the other day, like we were just talking and he was like, just keep going. Like, what does it matter that so-and-so said whatever? What does it matter that, someone wrote this article? Like, you just have to keep going. Because in 2 weeks, someone could be a new US Open champion, right? For the first time. No one knows what's going to happen. It could be you. Why not you? You can never give up because you literally don't know what's on the other end.
So we have a segment called Crunch Time, and we ask some fan-submitted questions. In your estimation, who has been one or two most difficult opponents that you've played in your career to this point?
I would say, obviously, Serena, the greatest of all time. And then I would say, someone probably like Roberta Vinci. Slice backhand, tough to play, something like that. Just an old school, an OG.
And for yourself, speaking of Serena, do you have in no particular order a top 3 greatest female tennis players of all time?
I would have to go with, obviously, Serena. Then we go... I love Steffi Graf, so I'm going to go with Steffi Graf.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go
a student of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Venus. If I could go with a fourth, I would probably say, like a personal favorite, just Kim Clijsters. Yeah, loved her.
Yeah.
And don't come after me, you guys. There are other people. There are Justine Henin. Like, there's so many other great
It's not a final list. This is
this is just like a rough cut, right?
Yeah,
like,
this is a today list.
Yeah.
Would you say there was a particular victory that you had, whether a singular one or of a tournament that sticks out to you in your mind?
Definitely. I will say that there have been a lot of difficult moments that I've like come through and ended up winning or whatever, but I will say the 2017 US Open, obviously my greatest victory, but the greatest match I ever played was in the 2017 US Open. I played against Venus in the semifinals. There was like 3 points in a row that we played that were incredible. Everyone always talks about I hit a backhand down the line and an incredible point, and I genuinely believe that winning that match won me the tournament.
Not even in the final, that
match, like getting through that, playing against obviously like your idol, playing against someone who's done so much for the sport of tennis, has won so many things, being able to defeat her there. I think after that match, I was like, we're good. Like, this is it, right? And I think people wait their whole lives for an opportunity, and I was like, this is the time.
And so to wrap, show's called The Winning Formula. Have to ask, in your career, on the court and off, for yourself, what combination of things made up the winning formula for yourself?
I would say my winning formula has been my self-belief and my family.
Love that.
Yeah.
Pure and simple.
Yeah.
Self-belief and family.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Winning Formula. My name is Joel Kalani. We have had the pleasure of speaking with Sloane Stephens today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.